But as we get started here, I would just like to introduce you to our speakers. First up, we have Sasha Lipman, who is the founder of Tech2impact, which is a global digital hub for the impact tech ecosystem. It's an ecosystem of more than 400 founders, accelerators, and investors located all the way from the USA to Australia. Then joining her will be Babett Kürschner, and I'm so sorry if I have your last name pronounced incorrectly. Babett is a communications professional with a focus on strategic communication, content creation, and storytelling for Tech2impact. She considers herself a translator between organizations and their respective stakeholders and has helped startups turn their vision and mission into tangible values and actions as a freelance consultant for over 4 years. They will be joined in conversation with our own amazing Lauren Haggerty, who is the Director of Marketing and Community at Power to Fly, as well as the genius behind our Chat and Learn series. So I will turn the stage over to you, Lauren. Take it away.
Thanks so much, Megan. Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to be here with you and really excited for this conversation and to learn more about Tech2impact and, of course, these two incredible professionals' journeys. So thank you both for being here, first of all. Let's start by talking about those career journeys and what got y'all to where you are today. So I want to start with you, Sasha. What led you to really start Tech2impact?
First of all, hello, everyone. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having us. So from my side, I think it's a mixture. I come from a mixture of impact-driven and startup tech ecosystem background. I used to be part of ISEC, which is a youth-led organizations globally for more than 5 years in different countries, and landed accidentally in the startup scene for another 5 years. And that's how the whole combination between tech and impact inherently came with me together. And working in more than 5 years in startup ecosystem, I've been working in accelerators, incubators, with investors, with startups. And I think the one thing which always was ringing my bell inside was, why do we have so many great ventures which are positioned as nonprofits only or impact as a charity versus investments in investing in startups, which are not per se solving anything, in my opinion, relevant and any real problems. So I think that's where the frustration of these years led to the point that we decided to found Tech2impact to actually bring together and all the ecosystems, both impact and tech, and to really showcase and position impact tech as a new norm in the ecosystem of innovation. So that's kind of where I'm coming from.
It's amazing. And I'll admit that I actually was introduced to Tech2impact from Babett. We met at a networking session, and it was pretty much instantaneous. I needed to hear more about what y'all were doing and how you were leveraging all of these different pieces of so many different things that we'll get to in just a bit, but to really make a difference in this space. So Babett, what about you? What motivated you to join Tech2impact?
I mean, I've always, it might be a Gen Z cliche, but I've always really wanted to work for companies that really provide some value and some meaning, and where my work would really make a difference in society as a whole and not just necessarily, on the shareholders' balance sheet. And I've kind of been part of, like impact startups when I was younger and still back in Vienna. I used to study law before I embarked on my communications journey, but I was always really much drawn to the startup and the communication sphere. So it's kind of like, this red thread that has been going through my professional career for as long as I can remember. And then with Tech2impact, I actually was introduced to the organization by a dear friend of mine who I've worked with at another impact venture, again, a couple of years ago. And I mean, I would never really think that ranting about UK politics on my private blog would bring me to an organization as fantastic as Tech2impact, but that's kind of how I started out. And then it just, I don't know, being part of Tech2impact and seeing all of the amazing ventures that we work together with just kind of like instantly drew me to become more and more and more involved up to the point where I'm now leading the communications team at the organization.
It's amazing. And it's fascinating what y'all are doing and really, how much it's impacting so many different, verticals. So tell us a little bit more about what Tech2impact is, what y'all do, how y'all are helping people, and then we'll kind of get into some of the sustainable development goals. But let's give us like a high level overview of what y'all do.
Sure. Babett, want to take over here?
Sure, of course. So we're a global virtual hub for the impact tech ecosystem. And at the centerpiece of everything that we do are our startup members, of course. So these are startup founders whose product or service works towards solving one of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals developed by the United Nations. So these are 17 goals that we as society set ourselves that need to be reached within the next couple of years in order to ensure sustainable development for not just one country, but the entirety of society. So quite high level things. And there are amazing startups that are doing, that are using technology to really accelerate the solution of these SDGs. And what we really try to do with Tech2impact is give them a support ecosystem to thrive and grow, an environment where, where the impact that they make can just be accelerated to a degree where it really makes an impact on society. And then we also engage other stakeholders like corporates who want to part of purpose-driven innovation, and also investors who want to invest in impact tech startups, as well as other partners like accelerators and incubators, just kind of being a little bit of the mouthpiece for impact tech startups, like Sasha mentioned in the beginning. I think especially a couple of years ago, being an impact tech startup automatically put you in this category of being a charity or being non-for-profit, but this is of course not the case. And I think that's kind of really what we're also there to champion with everybody that we talk to, because we've kind of made the experience that as soon as you kind of really enlighten or teach people what it actually means to be an impact tech startup, people are on board automatically. It's a bit like you said, Lauren, like you just want to hear more, but it's kind of like about this spark, about finding this tipping point with different stakeholders and engaging them in the best possible way to support our startups.
Was there anything you wanted to add, Sasha?
I think Babett mentioned a lot of things. I think one maybe important thing to highlight is the overall mission of organization and what we're trying to achieve. We were trying to play around a lot in terms of how to really word it out, because we've been ranting about it so long in so many long copies and explanations and public talks and everything. But at some point, some of our team members said, "Oh, it's like making it the new norm, right?" And we're like, "Yes, thank you." We needed this exactly phrase, because in this point, if you look in the ecosystem of tech as such, of course, there is a very fantastically growing trend in terms of impact being prioritized, and especially, unfortunately, due to COVID, it's more highlighted and showcased that we need to address things which are a bit more important than just having another dating app or something like that, right? So in this case, for us, what it means making impact tech the new norm is the mission of everything we do. Versus if it's, for example, a conversation when it comes to giving startups a spot in your accelerator, or putting them on your investment priority, or giving them a space in your media magazine, right? So it doesn't need to be, I'm not investing in startups, so I'm not part of the whole thing. It's not, because even by purchasing particular brands, you invest, whether it's your money, your product, or everything you do, you invest your time and you invest your own money. So that's why we want to make sure that everything we can possibly do in the end results to this not anymore needing to be our mission, because it is a norm. So that's something we're aiming for with pretty much everything we do.
It's incredible. And again, so much to unpack here. And I want to save space in just a few minutes for our audience to ask y'all questions. So if anyone has any questions, start typing them in the chat now, and we will ask these two incredible panelists the questions in just a few minutes. But I want to talk more about, kind of what you said, Sasha, about like it's hard to explain what you do, and you really need to kind of talk it out, and it can mean many different things. And we saw on your website, I love this quote: "Technology per se is not the answer to all of our problems. We believe that it's the perfect tool to accelerate societal and environmental change." Could not have said it better myself. So can you elaborate on how Tech2impact really facilitates that change? And what are some of the technological resources that you provide people with, or just resources in general, for people who are interested in starting an impactful startup?
Sure. I think this phrase kind of is one of the things which our Babett put into words, which are in my head, which is a fantastic tool we usually have. So I've been fascinated by technology, and I think if you reflect on the fact how much technology have evolved in the last couple of years and what's possible to do with technology now, it's mind-blowing, right? From basic things like, hey, we can connect online and have a conversation video like we have now, to things like, hey, let's just revolutionize the whole financial ecosystem by blockchain and cryptocurrencies and everything, right? Or There's so many tools we have, or so many fantastic ventures we have in our space, that I can rant about it for legit 3 hours in front of us. But think about it the following: like, you have, for example, a VR, right? Which is, you think about VR, it's just gaming, or it's something which is like fun and cool and everything. But what if you look in the VR as the tool to address chronic pain and train your brain to stop chronic pain from the inside, right? One of the ventures we have in the ecosystem. Or if you look into the things which are connected to health tech even more, when you look in the direction of, let's look into cancer, right? So we have cancer issues. How can we use technology to actually extract people's cells to test on them different medicine and see how it influences? Or looking more into the climate direction, how things with drones can prevent forests from freaking out and firing the whole thing. So there's so many elements of technology which can be done with things I mentioned, which are not complicated ones, right? But then there are also things like low tech and apps, which are giving access to people to be able to actually transfer money to overseas where there is no banks, like in Lebanon right now. So this type of things is what technology is for us. And this is why we always say it's not the end solution, because in the end of the day, as one of our great mentors and friends is always saying, technology is as good as people are behind it. But it is a fantastic tool itself. From our side, we are more a bring together kind of people. So we do use different tools to connect our global digital hub, like Zoom and Slack and all of those typical things, because for us, it's not about technological advancement of Tech2impact, but versus actually connections we can build between our tech startups and our mentors and our accelerator partners to actually multiplicate and the advancement of technology in the ecosystem we have right now. So
yeah, and I think just kind of like to continue with that, I think a really good example for that is our mentorship program, because of course all of our startups that are within that program have a technological solution, but they might have other needs like growth hacking or go-to-market strategy. So it's really about providing these startups with an ecosystem where they can actually where they can actually grow and where they can actually achieve whatever they set out themselves to want to achieve. And that also includes technology, like we have virtual webinars, of course, that we give to them. But like you said, it's mostly about bringing people from all corners of the world together and kind of finding common ground.
Amazing. And I wrote down, I had to, Sasha, the technology as good as the people who are behind it, because that's, we are huge proprietors of that at Power to Fly. And, something that someone had said at one point is, Power to Fly is a lot of, bots with hearts, or hearts with bots. So it's, technology is nothing without the people who, are growing and learning and thinking, which I think is really fascinating, that y'all just have this vast array of opportunity for, whoever is interested in making an impact. And that actually nicely leads to this next question. If someone were to enroll in the Tech2impact ecosystem, what would that journey look like from start to finish?
So we have a lot of folks involved. So I think we're going to split here with Babett and take it from different directions. So I'm going to start with startups, right, which are main heart of everything we do. It's very simple. We have a criteria for startups to join. So it needs to be impact driven, really impact first, of course, profit together, but impact first, where solutions are not just contributing by donating money or donating resources, but actually addressing one of the sustainable development goals. It needs to be tech. It can be anything from low to hardcore, things like hardware, software, deep tech innovation, stuff like that. And location doesn't matter. We have, as you mentioned already, folks from all the way from Costa Rica to India. So location doesn't even matter for us at all. And of course that they want to join. That's kind of, we don't force anyone to do that. So the journey is very simple. Startup sign up. We look over, we evaluate and screen startups. Then if everything fits, we get them on board and they get, access to our Swedish table, which we call our ecosystem. So you come, you take whatever you want and you bring whatever you can. We have a lot of things for startups. We have a very close founders network. We have Slack with the whole ecosystem of 450 members. We have different access to knowledge hubs and learning sessions. We do a lot of showcasing. We try to really create connections versus just having names and numbers in the ecosystem sheet. So that's where we do a lot of networking events, a lot of connections, and we try as much as possible to showcase every venture. So as simple as that. The entry is very simple to come. So if any Impact Tech Ventures wants to join, we're always happy to get them on board. and it doesn't matter where they are or what exactly they do as soon as they fit the criteria. So that's in terms of startups. And in terms of the second, one of the biggest stakeholders we also now bring on board is investors. So investors are joining as investor partners. So we do connect regularly our investor partners with startups in our ecosystem. So whenever they are fundraising and we see that there is a great match with one of our investor partners, we make sure that there is introduction. We also host welcome pitch nights and things like this for investors to really connect with the right startups, because what we realized that startups are not anymore just hunger for the capital. They really want to work with someone who's right fit. Because I think the more now the conversation is also one of our mentors always saying is it doesn't need to be startups running after VCs, but VCs after startups, because there is enough capital, but not enough good innovation itself. So that's the attitude we also foresee and push it further. So that's in terms of these two stakeholders, and I think Babett can take on from the other two we have.
Exactly, and then of course we have our partner / our corporate partners. So as a partner, the way it usually works is that on one hand, if you would just like to become a partner of the Tech2impact ecosystem, it's pretty straightforward. We schedule a call with one of our partnership leads, and then we try to find synergies of how can we create the best win-win situation for both of the organizations. And then we also have our purpose-driven innovation services to corporate partners. So this could, for example, include hackathons for students, or even becoming part of the global impact tech ecosystem as such, or organizing employee boot camps. Again, trying to really figure out what each corporate needs, figuring it out together with them, and how we can create the most impact together with them, of course. And then we also have our team, our lovely team of over 15 people at this point. It amazes me every single time I see us at our weekly meetings. And the way it works, again, we're currently actually recruiting for a communications lead / marketing lead. But the way that usually works is, again, you get in touch with us. We see if there's a good fit. We have a conversation about where are you here? Like what SDG is your favorite? That's Sasha's favorite question to ask during the interview process. Mine is quality education. But kind of just figuring out what the best role for each and every person can be in the Tech2impact ecosystem. I think kind of as a team member, what I really appreciate is the opportunity to just grow and to just dare to try things out and really kind of go out of our way to make everybody feel really welcome and really empowered.
Exactly, because for us, the logic of the team, it's we want great people. We don't want to fill in the positions only. So that's why if you look in the whole team, we kind of had people come and be like, I like what you do. Can I join? Okay, let's figure out what position we are making for you. So that's kind of how the whole team evolved. And to be honest, as a founder, I can tell you it's been only 1 year, right? But everything I imagined it to be is completely involved on the steroid level because of the great talent I'm lucky enough to have, like Babett and the other 14 people we have who are part of Tech2impact, also based all over the world. At some point, we actually we're seeing each other now, like a month ago, me and Babett, after working 1 year together remote. So weird.
The very first year was so bizarre, seeing Sasha in person.
Yep. So yeah.
It's amazing. Dropping some exclusives here for anyone who's watching and wants to apply. I love it.
Please join.
Let's talk a little bit about, I'm just watching the clock tick down here, about the responsible technology assessment. So what is it and how does it work?
You remember the phrase, right? The one you really liked about technology being as good as the people are behind it. That's kind of what was hunting us down since day one. The more I was telling to people is like, guys, technology is the way to go. It's another, there was this little small nudge inside and be like, but it's also part of the problem, which is true, right? In some way. And I love this phrase. I'm going to give you one more phrase of technology is neither good nor bad nor neutral. And this is so true. Because yes, people are behind it and yes, people stand behind it, but you never know if there is a wrong decision done, where it can take you. Like look at the Facebook, what happened with Cambridge Analytica, right? And there's so many, we can give you millions of examples, right? If there is a crazy thing like the dispenser soap in the bathroom, which doesn't react to color skin, like what is this? Like how could you not test it out? So things like that, which we realized that if we promote technology as advancement and technology as the way to go, we also need to be responsible enough to make sure it's not the way to go other direction. So the assessment itself was the result of one intensive conversation with our partners from the Institute of Technological Ethics all the way in Australia, because we like working globally, as a discussion of like debate we had here in Vienna in terms of technology. It was saying, hey, let's do one webinar. Oh, let's do something else. And let's turn it into the whole freaking project of assessment and make it big. So that's how it escalated. So we started to look into the main topics where every tech founder can evaluate themselves on, because it's not, ethics is such a subjective topic from one side, but also has a lot of standards things people don't look into. And for some reason, it's still perceived as, oh, I'm going to look into it when I'm rich and gigantic corporate, versus, hey, I want to look into it now to make sure the decisions I'm making are right ones, so I don't create another evil. So that's why we create a responsible technology assessment, which is free and accessible to anyone in the world at any point they want to take it, which is to 10 to 15 minutes assessment when you go through 20 single select questions and you get in the end to score how ethical is your business towards society, especially your technology, because we look in main dimensions, which are 6 of them, but we'll tell a bit more about it. But that's kind of the logic behind it. And that's why responsible technology and impact technology, these are the 2 main topics we address as Tech2impact right now. And Babett, maybe you can tell more about the topic.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, a little bit like Sasha also mentioned, I think a big part of, being a responsible business is being aware that you have blind spots. Like you said, I'm entirely sure, when Mark Zuckerberg set out to create Facebook, he didn't necessarily think of the democratic implications that his app might have had. But, the question is, why shouldn't businesses think big? Why shouldn't businesses analyze different aspects of their business? And then the 6 ones that we decided on were, of businesses that they need to at least be aware of are, on one hand, business ethics. So this means, company values, gender diversity, and racial diversity. And then the next one would be sociocultural understanding, which just means that you understand your consumers and you are aware of, the need for inclusive language and, inclusivity as such. In your technological solution. And then we also have things like technology design. Things include things like algorithmic bias. I mean, we also have main blogs where we had a very big content creation push for the responsible technology assessment as well, because, it kind of goes hand in hand with telling people a little bit more about what it even is. And then one of the articles was very much focused on cautionary tales of technology. And then I think one of the implications of data or algorithmic bias was that an app that is used in the US to determine how likely an offender is to reoffend was very heavily skewed towards, people of color, which of course, that's not the way that technology should be enabled to use. And then we also have 3 main risks, one of them being health risks, the other one is democratic risks, and then social risks. So this can include everything from your app causing addiction, anxiety, or depression, or maybe your technological solution enabling, misinformation or enabling antisocial behavior or bad actors, and how prone it is to hijacking. So it was really supposed to be kind of like it's not a B Corp certification. It's supposed to be the very first, one of the first steps for you to start thinking about what does it mean to be responsible and ethical as a business, regardless of size or shape or location. And we've actually kind of taken it one step further. Maybe Sasha could talk a little bit more about that as well.
We realized very quickly that it's great starting conversation, but a lot of people don't know what they don't know. And that's why soon, by the end of the year, we're launching Responsible Technology Academy. So if any folks of you here want to participate, it's open to anyone who works with technology or who understands technology, want to learn better. What are the elements? What are the things you need to know as a business or as any tech creator or tech user in terms of running your company in a responsible manner, and what you should be careful and avoid? So we're going to make it into a 3-month program with peer-to-peer learning, with a lot of insights and understanding for people to really be aware how it works and not just put it on the shelf for later. So that's how it goes.
You'll have to drop the link in the chat so we can share that with everyone on the line. But I have one more question, and then I want to just get all of your promotional links and how we can reach you. But I love this last question. What are some tech for social impact startups that have come out of your incubator that we should look out for, that you're excited about?
Okay, how much time do I have? 1 hour, 3 hours? Okay, to be fair, guys, first of all, tech2impact.com/startups, and you see all of them. We have an impact tech creator where you can browse them, see any issues you want to address and which technologies they do. So just for you guys to look into the bigger scope of picture. But where do I start? We're pick SDG, and I can tell you which solution we have. I'm kidding, of course. So One thing which I'm very fascinated about is, of course, in the direction of health tech. So, for example, we have a great solution in Spain which helps epileptic people with preventing seizures. So you can actually have a calm life in having understanding where your seizure might come in, so you can be in a safe space, for example. Or looking more into quality education, we have a great technology startup from Tunisia helping kids with dyslexia to adjust to learning materials and actually be able to work with them. We have great startup from Austria, Dreamwaves, which one of our great members, who is transforming the whole audio navigation for blind people to be able to go around the cities and to actually have easier life versus just being reliable on Braille and so on and so forth. So things like that, of course, and of course more in-depth tech solutions which are preventing forest fires, which are looking more into direction of clean water sanitation. For example, folks from Germany, which developed a spin-off from university, which developed a powder which absorbs microplastic. You know, this memes was can I get a plastic bag and really have it inside the fish kind of thing, which they're addressing was their solution. We do have a lot of 3D folks, also a lot of hardware folks who are creating 3D bionic arm and things like that. And of course, we have a lot of apps who are addressing mental health, the apps who are helping you actually to change your behavior to a more sustainable one, and so on and so forth. So can talk about it forever. Tech2impact.com/startups. You can check all of them. And we also have an editorial line called 99 Changemakers, where there are actual stories of people behind the ventures. I would really recommend you folks to go and read it. I think we have right now more than 10 folks there positioned, which are very interesting stories, how they came to the solution. Babett, if I'm missing anyone you want to bring up.
No,
it's
I think
200 of them.
It's a lot. And I think that's really kind of also what really keeps the energy, my energy personally also going with Tech2impact. I think it just gets, each and every month we're continuing to onboard new startup members. And it's just, the biggest story to kind of, you read and you're like, wow, this is possible, like this is amazing. And then the next step is, okay, we're really going to make this, we need to help this, get bigger.
Exactly.
Love it. In 1 minute, how can everyone here find you? You said tech2impact.com/startups. That's where they can see, who you work with. But what about each of you individually, or is there anything else that you want to promote or share?
Here you go. Send all the links. Yeah,
exactly.
Perfect.
Everything in there.
Perfect.
So our website is there. Our latest 99 Changemaker feature is also there, and you can reach us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and then us personally through one of those accounts. We're usually tagging each other as well as our team dog Pluto. So
very connected.
It should all be there.
Please, guys, if you are a startup, join us. If you are an enthusiast who likes what we do, we want to contribute and work with us, just message us. We are one of the fastest teams to respond, I think, in general. If you're an investor and you're investing in startups, please reach out to us. We'll be happy to onboard you in our ecosystem. Same if you're an accelerator, incubator. And of course, if you're working with technology, or you're a corporate or scale up, or anyone working with technology, check our resources. We're happy to bring you on board for our Responsible Technology Academy and to help you to learn more about that. So just follow us, reach us. We're happy to support everyone. The more of us, the better. And thanks so much for having us here.
Thank you both so much. This was lovely. I have thoroughly enjoyed speaking with each of you. And just thank you for all the hard work that you've done. It's amazing getting to know you.
Likewise. Likewise. Thank you very much for having us. Looking forward to connect with everyone.